You'll be happy to know my notes.
Oh my gosh, this is going great.
My notes are very short, so yay.
Yay. It's almost like we don't want to do this. People might get the wrong impression.
No, I just meant that they're shorter than usual, so maybe we could keep it under like 2 hours.
That'd be good for us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Winter Bazaar Book Retort!
Whew, it's the winter! We get a break, kind of, half the time.
This is a full episode. Do we get a break, Sam?
Oh, we had a break last week.
That's true. We did do a little short, which was great and fun to do.
Yes, but now, Danielle, hit me with that holiday winter spirit.
I will. So we are the podcast where one of us explains a weird piece of media to the other who has no experience with it, except during Winter Bazaar, it is winter and holiday-themed media.
Yes, and Danielle, I have no experience with this media. I am like a brand new elf intern who is being hazed by all the other elves and is going to go cry in a corner.
Did you think about this before you came?
No.
Where do these things come from?
Danielle, if I knew that, I would have a much better understanding of my own psyche.
Your brain is a mysterious place.
Oh, you're telling me. I live with it.
Anyway. Sam actually kind of knows what we're doing this week, but he hasn't actually seen it, so it's okay, everybody.
Yeah, no, you had to check to make sure I hadn't seen this before, which gave the game away, but I'm still very excited because I have no idea what this is about.
That's because it feels like something you would have seen before, because I definitely have seen this before. And it is a very merry Muppet Christmas movie from 2002.
Is that the full title?
Yeah, it's very merry
That's
Muppet
a clunker.
Christmas movie. You know the Muppets.
Amazing.
All right. You ready for this, Sam?
I am so ready, Danielle. I'm ready for some Muppet shenanigans.
Perfect. Okay. The movie opens, Sam.
Wait, can I get a summary?
Oh, no, I didn't do a summary.
Okay.
Hang on. I'll get you one.
It's a gift for me, I guess, this one here.
Muppet Christmas Movie.
Oh, we're professionals. We're not. We're not remotely professionals.
Let's see what IMDb says.
The one-sentence summary generator.
Oh, that's a terrible summary.
Then you're
I might
going
go
to give
back
to me,
to
right?
that. I might. Let's see what else. Is there anything better? Probably nothing better than that, because that's pretty generic and it's good.
All right. This is all staying in, by the way.
Oh, I should just give you that little clip.
This is, I don't know, terrifying. What's going on over there, Danielle? I can only imagine.
No, I'll give you the IMDb one. It tells you nothing.
Perfect.
All right. Here is the summary, Sam.
Oh, 'twas the night before Christmas and the Muppet Theater is in danger of being torn down, but with hilarious send-ups of just about every holiday movie ever made, the Muppets discover that what matters most is their love for each other, and hopefully a bank bailout to save their theater.
All right, you ready? For real?
Oh yes, let's go.
Okay, it opens with the town. Busy with the holidays, there's people everywhere, there's lights everywhere, there's people shopping everywhere, and that scene fades into a Muppet holiday party. Kermit arrives to the party, but he's not his usual peppy self. I'm not gonna, explain their normal personalities. Everybody, I'm just gonna assume you've seen some Muppets.
If you need a crash course on Muppets and their personalities, YouTube exists. You can find some people who will talk about it for hours.
And please, go watch the Muppet movies or the old TV show. Get acquainted with the Muppets.
Sure, why not? I mean, go for it.
So Kermit arrives to the party, but like I said, he's not his usual peppy self as he walks through. And Miss Piggy approaches him, letting him know they're under some mistletoe.
Ooh, the sexual harassment starts immediately.
Immediately. He's clearly not in the mood, and when she pushes it, he ends up yelling at her to leave him alone. Record scratch, the party stops.
Not Kermit, the one everyone likes?
Yeah, everybody loves Kermit. They'd all die without Kermit. Probably
That's
literally.
Fair. He's the only adult in the room, kinda.
Exactly. Gonzo asks him if something is wrong, and Kermit tells him that they've lost everything. They've lost all the money that was keeping the theater running.
How?
You'll find out soon on It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie from 2002.
Great, thank you, Danielle. I'm pissed you did the teaser in the middle of the episode.
Little Kermit, I don't know what Little Kermit's name is. It's the littler frog. Do you know what the little frog's name is?
Absolutely not.
Okay, well,
There's
Little
more
Kermit,
than one frog in the Muppets?
Yeah, there's like a baby Kermit.
Where did that thing come from?
He plays in what's the other Christmas movie?
Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yeah, in Muppet Christmas Carol, he plays...
What was that?
In Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's what you said.
He plays Tiny Tim.
Okay. I'm going to call him
Remember this
Tiny
little
Tim.
frog?
Sure.
Remember, because Miss Piggy and him are together because
I remember that Tiny Tim existed in the Muppet Christmas Carol. I didn't know he had a name besides Tiny Tim.
Yeah, well, he has. I don't know what his name is, but I'm going to call him Little Kermit. So Little Kermit tells him it'll be fine. Don't write me. I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't look it up.
Yo, it's Little Kermit. He's here to drop some beats.
I'd listen to Little Kermit.
I mean, me too. But someone who has literally zero rapping ability, I'm sure Little Kermit's much better than I am.
So Little Kermit's like, don't worry, Kermit, it'll be fine. And they'll just band together and raise the money. And Kermit dejectedly tells him, not this time, Little Kermit, not this time.
All right, movie over. They lose the theater, and then life goes on. They all find new jobs, and it's fine.
Yeah. So they can't. Sam, no. So he leaves the theater. He walks outside, and there's some random frog that has its tongue stuck to a pole. And there's another frog, and asks for his help.
There's lots of frogs. What's going on in this place?
I don't know. And Kermit's like, I can't help you. I'll ruin your life. Poor Kermit. He's having a hard time.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I always want to put on the peppiest face who, when they fall deepest into depression.
Yeah, he's getting there. So he walks to the park and he has a seat on a snow-covered bench and he starts to cry as the snow falls around him. Meanwhile...
So this is the happy, funny Muppets I've heard so much about.
Yes, you've seen Muppet movies, though.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on a computer screen, David Arquette is looking at Kermit and is very concerned.
David Arquette?
Yeah.
Star of such things as...
Scream.
And...
Other things. Other screams.
Great. Perfect.
I've seen him in many things. I just can't think of anything other than Scream.
I like how your brain immediately goes to horror. Perfect.
Well, he's like a pretty big deal in that movie.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So, he's decided, like I said, he's looking very concerned about the situation that Kermit's in. Meanwhile, William H. Macy appears as a higher-up coworker.
William H. Macy, star of such things as...
Fargo.
And...
that one TV show he was in forever. Shameless.
Oh, okay.
What else? He was in... he's in literally everything, Sam.
Just pick a movie from the 90s. So much, yeah.
Wasn't he in that one with Harrison Ford, too? Yeah,
probably.
He was. Yep. Anyway, so William H. Macy's playing like his, I would say, middle manager position.
Great.
And David Arquette, whose name is Danielle or Danielle, it's very confusing.
Danielle Arquette.
Daniel tells him that he needs to send someone stat to pull off some Christmas justice for Kermit. And William H. Macy is like, come on, I can't do that. There are rules, and the committee has to do a thorough investigation. Are these supposed to be like mythical beings, like the spirits of Christmas or whatever? These are like angels or something. Yeah, okay. Say. The metaphor is strong. Yeah. Yes, we have to do a thorough investigation before sending anyone down there. He's not so much following the rules as he just doesn't want to do it. William H. Macy. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to do it either. That guy sounds like a bummer. And by that guy, I mean Kermit. And Daniel's like, fine, if you're not going to do your job, then I'm going to do it for you. I'm taking this case to the boss. And William H. Macy's like... His boss is not Santa. I'll be very sad. This is supposed to be heaven or something, Sam. I know, but I want Santa to be in charge of everything. William H. Macy's like, absolutely not. You can't just walk in there. Like, no. And he's like chasing after him. He's like, you can't do that. And Daniel says he doesn't care. Kermit deserves justice. Does he? Does Kermit deserve justice? What has he done to deserve justice? As opposed to literally billions of other people. He's always a good person, Sam. Is he? Pretty much. I'd say his success rate is like 99%. Okay, well, I guess I'll take your word for it on Kermit's likability meter. I feel like I've seen more Muppets than you. That's 100% true, Danielle. So, Daniel walks to a very imposing door, and Mozart's Requiem in D minor, I'm pretty sure, is what was playing. And I don't know if you know that, but if you heard it, you'd recognize it.
Oh, yeah.
And he pushes the doorbell before stars explode and he's sucked into the door. And he
This
appears,
is a high-budget Muppet movie.
Always. He appears in a field of flowers and is approached by none other than, do you know who he's approached by, Sam?
Morgan Freeman?
No, Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg, star of such things as...
Ghost.
And...
Sister Act.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking of, too. Good job.
And other things.
Many other things, like Theodore Rex.
Yes, that. The one she's most well known for. Daniel tells Whoopi that he's afraid that Kermit is having a crisis. And Whoopi is like, don't worry about Kermit. He always does the right thing.
Also, who's Kermit and why should I care?
No, it's Whoopi Goldberg's like God or something. She knows who everybody is, Sam.
I'm kidding.
And Daniel's like, no, I think it's real this time. And Whoopi says if he can convince her that Kermit actually needs help, she'll send someone down. Otherwise, he has to convert all her CDs to MP3s. And she has every CD ever made.
That's...
2002.
What? Yeah, okay. First, this is very Sodom and Gomorrah situation here, you know, if you can find Old Testament kind of stuff going on. And the punishment, though, is very New Testament, which is hilarious.
So he pulls up his tablet and rewinds Kermit's life.
Wow. Thank you, Danielle, for the Foley work. Again, everyone out there, Danielle's Foley reel is available if you want to hire her.
It's terrible. All right. So we get sucked into Kermit's life. We are no longer with Daniel and Whoopi.
Aw, I want the Danielle and Whoopi show to go on.
Aw, you'll get back to him, sort of. I skip a lot of their stuff because it's not important. All right. Kermit is being interviewed by Carson Daly, as one is in 2002.
Carson Daly, star of such things as...
The Carson Daly Show.
And...
And that other show on MTV or VH1 or something. Oh, and he was also in... Wasn't he briefly in Josie and the Pussycat?
How would I know? I mean, I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
It's a shame you've seen that movie, because that's wild.
I know. You basically foisted it upon me.
That was before we did the podcast. I wouldn't have if it was after the podcast.
Yeah, fair.
All right. So Kermit's plugging the Muppet Christmas show at the theater, which is coming up. Tickets are on sale now. Bye.
So the Muppets in this universe are large enough to warrant an on-TV interview with Carson Daly, but have not sold out their small theater in New York yet.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know why they're always like, they have so many connections and yet somehow are always struggling.
That's my point. Like, if you're big enough to get onto national TV and talk about your upcoming one night only theater production in New York, you probably have enough word of mouth to fill your theater.
Yeah, so it's implied that like they sunk all their money into buying this theater. And so that's kind of where they are right now, is they're trying to it's not so much that they don't think they're going to recoup with ticket sales. They know they're going to, but they don't have any money currently.
So Kermit did a risky real estate purchase on a Manhattan theater. Why are we rooting for this guy?
I don't know.
Okay, great.
All right. The camera fades out and you see Kermit and Gonzo watching on a TV at behind the scenes at the theater, mentioning that the interview went well, so it was obviously previously filmed. And they are interrupted by Luc Fromage, played by Sam's absolutely favorite actor. Do you know who it is, Sam?
I
hope you guys say something completely wrong. That'd be hilarious.
It's Tim Curry.
It is not Tim Curry.
That's my favorite actor.
Well, it's one of your favorite actors.
Yeah, who's on Tim Curry?
No, it's not Tim Curry. It is Matthew Lillard.
Oh, Matthew Lillard, of course.
See, you love Matthew Lillard.
Star of such things as...
Scream.
And
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And Hackers?
Yeah. Tim Curry, Matthew Lillard, all wonderful. And Tim Curry was in the Muppet Treasure Island, so I thought there was precedent.
That's true. But no, it's Matthew Lillard playing Luc Fromage. Gonzo has hired him to help with a big musical number in the show. He's French.
I got that from the word fromage. I guess he's French-Canadian then.
French-Canadian. He worked for Cirque du Soleil, and they go to the theater to watch the number, which he's choreographed, which is called Cirque du Soleil, like fabric. But it's Lame, and then just has the accent over the E. And
wait, so it's not Cirque du Salami?
No, and Kermit's like, I don't think we should have lame up on the sign. And he's like, it's lame, like the fabric.
Yeah, I got it.
Great. I love Matthew Lillard.
Who doesn't love Matthew Lillard?
Anyway, so the whole, musical number is very Cirque du Soleil, and everything goes wrong, and Miss Piggy gets stuck in her, metal wraparound tree and ends up swinging across the stage, crashing everything down.
Perfect.
And Gonzo and Fromage, of course, love it, because Gonzo.
Gonzo is a little freak, and I love him. And Fromage, you think he would want his choreographed piece to go off right, though?
Well, no, because Kermit's not a fan of it, and Fromage tries to explain that it's a metaphor for the winter solstice and the dark side of Christmas.
And so everything going wrong he loves?
Yeah, so he's fine with it, I guess. And Kermit's we want the joy of Christmas, not the dark side of Christmas. And so in a fit, Fromage quits and leaves the theater.
Is this the last we'll see of Matthew Lillard?
Yeah, sadly.
Oh, well, then what's the point?
Because it's the Muppets. They just have cameos all over the place.
I know, it's true.
Okay, so they're having kind of a little team meeting, and Kermit says basically they're flat broke. So yes, as we've mentioned earlier, they've sunk all their money into this theater, and they have to get it all back. Yeah, they have to get it all back with the ticket sales. And they're interrupted in their planning sesh by Joan Cusack,
star of such things as
everything. 1990 to 2003. Runaway Bride.
Toys from this very podcast.
Yes. She's in many a thing.
All right, good. Joan Cusack.
She's playing Rachel Bitterman from Bitterman Bank and Development. I guess she's the new owner.
Of the theater?
No. Well, yes. I mean, technically the bank owns the theater and she owns the bank.
Got it.
Mr. Bitterman just recently passed away. They find out about it in this conversation.
Also, I can't believe you didn't mention the Addams Family values for Joan Cusack.
Yeah, I forgot she was in that, to be honest.
It's a great movie.
I know, but it's been a few years since I've seen it.
Maybe you have to rectify that with a little holiday spirit, Addams Family values style.
I should watch it with Wednesday.
Watch it on Wednesday.
No, I meant watch it.
I know, Danielle.
TV show Wednesday, which I would recommend, by the way. It's good.
I've heard good things.
So she tells them that now that she's the owner, that they have to pay their debt by Christmas Eve. That's the due date of the debt on the theater.
That's not how contracts work.
Well, apparently that is what's in the contract.
What kind of... Is Kermit an idiot? What kind of contract did he sign? He didn't sign a 30-year fixed rate mortgage or whatever. He signed some crazy contract you got to pay in 3 months.
Yes. And they explained they had a verbal agreement. They explained that they had a verbal agreement with Mr. Bitterman to pay after the first week of shows. And she's like, yeah, that's not my problem. It's not on the contract.
So Kermit, genius kind Kermit, signed a mortgage contract that specified he had to pay back the entirety before they could even stage a single show.
I don't know if it's the entirety, but it's some amount of money that, yes, needs to be paid. Kermit
brought it on himself. Whoopie is right. This is all his own fault. He deserves no help.
And anyway, so she's like, this is not my problem. That's what's in the contract. Pay up. Suck it up. Buttercup.
Okay.
Oh, and they're like, fine, we'll pay, we'll get the money. And she's like, yeah, when pigs fly. You don't have any money. What are you even talking about?
And they're going to do a pigs fly joke at some point. Yes, I know it's the Muppets.
No, they do it right then because Miss Piggy ends up flying through the air in her wrapped around tree thing again.
Okay, great.
And
perfect.
She goes, for the record, I believe that flying pig to be a coincidence and not a sign from God. I love
honestly, right answer.
And then Pepe the shrimp. I don't know if you know who Pepe is. Okay.
I know Pepe the shrimp. Of course, I know Pepe the shrimp.
Sure.
The very horny shrimp. Yes.
Yes. So Pepe the shrimp decides to go work for her because she offers real money.
And he's also probably sexually interested in her. If I knew that.
Absolutely, he's hitting on her like crazy.
If you are new to the Muppets, what we're saying must sound horrific.
Yeah, there's a Muppet called Pepe, and he's a shrimp.
A very randy shrimp.
All right. So as the team is meeting, they're complaining Christmas is ruined. It would take a miracle. We're never going to be able to pull this off. And Kermit's like, let's not assume the worst. Maybe we'll be okay. Let's do some math and see if we can make enough money in one show to pay off what we owe. And the answer to this is no. They'd either have to sell an extra 2,000, it's 1,900 seats or something that they don't have, or they'd have to defer wages for a year.
Wait. How could they defer wages for a year if they only have 1 day's worth of money? Does everyone get their paycheck up front for the year?
I don't know the answer to that, Sam.
My point is, it's like you have the cash on hand. Okay, we'll just pay you over you get paid in installments over the year.
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, nonsense. Go on.
So they decide to tell the staff that they can't pay them.
Their choice is, hey, everyone
or
work
like
for free.
do an extra show. They could just do one in the afternoon and one in the evening or something.
Right, do a matinee. They could literally, if they have enough star clout to go back to Carson Daly or whoever and say, hey, we got another show, special opened up, demand was so high, we've opened another show for a limited time, hurry, come before the tickets sell out. They would generate more than enough money.
Yeah, but nope, none of those solutions exist in this world.
So their plan is to not pay anyone. They all quit and leave and Kermit's left alone.
No. Miss Piggy,
Okay.
well, yeah,
I would do
sort
that.
of. Miss Piggy decides that she's not going to do that, so she's trying to sneak out the back of the theater, like as Kermit's trying to do his rousing speech, and Kermit catches her, and it demoralizes the cast and crew even more. And then Fozzie the Bear does a speech about how they should be ashamed of themselves when Kermit's done so much for them, and everybody decides to, of course, defer their paychecks and live on, I don't know, ramen? I don't know what they're like.
What do Muppets eat, if anything? Lint?
Are they all
Dryer
going to
lint?
sleep in the theater? They can't afford their rent now. Like, I don't know.
Kermit is a villain in this movie, Danielle. He made a risky investment. He didn't read the contract he was signing. The contract was onerous, to say the least. And he didn't plan to like have a show up and running in enough time to pay his mortgage off. And now he's taken it out of the wages of his workers. He's a villain. He's a robber baron villain.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, back at Bitterman, Miss Bitterman, Joan Cusack, is quizzing Pepe about their financial situation over at the theater. And Pepe unknowingly reveals that the copy of the contract that he had on him when he went to work for her, because he was out getting permits so that they could, host all the things they needed, is the only copy that exists of the contract.
The contract between the bank and the theater?
Yes.
What kind of bank is this? You guys had a copy to the lawyer of the person who represented Kermit. I hope you had a lawyer in this deal.
Apparently not.
No, because he made the worst deal ever. But anyway, they're triplicate, duplicate. There are so many copies of mortgage contracts.
There's
so many copies. This is Danielle. This isn't like the Old West. Where you're like, I've got the deeds and now the ranch belongs to me. You're like, no.
Everything's simpler in a Muppet movie, Sam.
This is insane. I honestly, I can't sympathize with Kermit here because he has made the worst deal in history and it of his own choice.
So Pepe asks her why she's so interested in the theater, and she pulls off a sheet that's over a display and shows him a model.
There's gold buried in there or something.
No, you should know. It's even weirder.
Oh, okay.
She shows him the model of a nightclub she calls Club Dot that is going to take the place of the theater. She's like, I want a nightclub. I want EDM music. I want to be dancing. I want leather. I want hip new people coming in and out.
She's an idiot too. A nightclub would be way less profitable than the theater in New York.
Well, apparently not.
All right, well, what do I know?
Nothing. You have no experience with New York whatsoever.
Certainly not with theaters or nightclubs in New York.
Back at the theater, they're trying to come up with a new musical number for the opening after, Luc Fromage decided to leave.
Aw, bring him back. More Luc Fromage. We want the fromage.
It's rough, obviously. They suggest to Kermit that he should call some of his famous friends and see if one of them could do an opening for the show instead of the musical number.
How would that get the money though? They've already sold out.
I think it's supposed to be for free.
Yeah, but they've already sold out the theater, so it's not like bringing in a star musical act is going to get more tickets.
Well, I don't know if they've sold out the theater yet.
Well, my point is
ticket sales are very minimal in the actual story.
Didn't they need 2,000 more seats than they had in the theater?
Yes.
So even if they pack it doesn't make a difference. Maybe get your famous friends to do a second show that you can sell out.
Yes. Yes, Sam. Any of these solutions would make more sense.
I'm just angry at Kermit for putting all his workers into this position where their financial stability is on the line due to his irresponsibility.
You tell him.
I just did.
So you cue the montage of him calling every random famous person, and nobody, of course, is willing to come out during the holidays because it is on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, duh. So just we do another show on a different day.
I know. I don't know why this is so hard for them.
I'm so angry.
Kermit's like, it's okay, guys. Somebody will come through. And then they all push him to go get the somebody that they should still have, which is obviously Miss Piggy. She's apparently the star power that they need.
That was my question. Is Miss Piggy a massive star in this universe?
I mean, they act like she is.
Also, Are the Muppets the only puppet people in this universe? Because that would make their show massive.
I don't know the answer to that. There's definitely a lot. No, I don't think so, just because there's a lot of like Muppets that wander around the city that you never see in the theater. So I'd have to assume that it's like a mixed population of Muppets and humans.
So Muppets are common in this universe, and Miss Piggy is somehow the biggest Muppet star.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand why she is so important.
I don't know, but apparently she's like, was the star of the show, and now that they can't find somebody more famous, they want her back, and she's at least star power enough to, like, that people will be glad they paid for their tickets.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I would pay to see Miss Piggy, so what do I know?
All right, so he walks off, he's gonna go find Miss Piggy. Cue the entire cast of Scrubs filming a scene where there's...
They're doing filming an episode of Scrubs in this movie?
Yes. Like the whole cast of Scrubs is
there's a crossover with Scrubs in the Muppet Christmas Movie.
Yeah, so it's the whole cast of Scrubs, Sam.
Stars of such things as
I don't
Scrubs.
know what else was Zach Braff in.
Chicken Little for Zach Braff, I guess.
He was also in that movie that came out when I was in college. It's like it's very indie-ish.
I got nothing on him. Sorry, I don't know Zach Braff.
If I saw the title, I'd recognize it. He's in other stuff, Sam. He was in stuff, and so was all the rest of the cast.
I know they're all accomplished actors.
Oh, Clueless with Donald Faison.
Yeah, or also Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Donald Faison.
Yes, he was also in that.
Anyway, point is, this is insane, Danielle.
Yeah, I know, it's a weird cutover.
Why was this like a cross promotional thing? Like, we'll pay you to put Scrubs in the Muppet movie, or like was the way around? Like, we want to have Scrubs to draw people into the Muppet movie. Like, where was the logic
was
here?
Crazy.
I'm baffled.
Well, prepared to continue to be baffled. So the entire cast of Scrubs is standing around a table. They're filming like a coding scene, like the person on the table is coding. And Miss Piggy
programming, yes.
No, not that kind of coding, like dead heart coding.
I know. Let me have the pun, Danielle.
And Miss Piggy is supposed to be acting like the dead person, and she's definitely like, as soon as the scene is like mostly over, she's like, I'm alive! And they're like, no, you're not. Lay down. No, I'm alive! Like, Miss Piggy. Yeah,
gotta be the big attention grabber.
Exactly. So the cast isn't happy because she's ruining the scene. And Kermit shows up in the middle of it and is trying to get her to come back. Like, we need you on set. Please come back. And she initially refuses, but she gets fired in the middle of that whole conversation because she's terrible. And decides like, well, then fine, I will go with him.
Okay, so let me understand this movie's structure. Miss Piggy is a big enough star that she will bring in the crowds at the Muppet Theater, but she is not a big enough star that she can't get more than playing a dead body in a TV show cameo.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know. Maybe she had a whole story before that.
Before that? Okay.
Yeah, maybe she was a main character in that episode until she got fired.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's true. I don't know if she had a whole thing before she died and they had to tearfully say goodbye to Miss Piggy.
Exactly. All we see is the coding scene. We don't know. We don't know how important Miss Piggy was to the Scrubs episode. That unfortunately does not exist in real life.
I want to see that Scrubs episode so bad. I wish they had done an episode of Scrubs to tie into the movie with Miss Piggy.
Which would have been very Scrubs-like. They could have pulled that off.
Yeah, they do all kinds of weird fantasy stuff in that show.
Yeah. You could easily have had somebody hit their head or something and had a whole Muppet thing.
Or as a coping mechanism.
Exactly.
JD has you imagine it would be Muppets who has to deal with the horror of death.
Something. That's exactly the plot that would happen.
Yeah, right? He would have been most Muppets so he could process his emotions that way. And then at the end he'd have a little speech in his head about how now he can handle and he's come to terms with everything. Everyone turns back into people.
Exactly. Wow.
I just wrote a Scrubs episode. We're not too late.
It's a real good episode, though. I can't
episode.
believe that didn't carry over to Scrubs. I'm upset about it now.
There could have been some was a synergy with this movie.
All right. Anyway, so Miss Piggy goes back with Kermit.
Whoever made Scrubs, was it WB? I don't know who made Scrubs. Call me Fox. Whatever.
Special episode.
Reunion.
Back at the Bitterman's office, Pepe is role-playing in Bitterman's seat, and she unexpectedly returns. And he hides beneath the desk, and he overhears her talking to her assistant about a plot to change the contract from a deadline of midnight on Christmas Eve to 6 p.m. in case they can somehow come up with the money. To throw them off, because she knows that they have their show on Christmas Eve, so if they're waiting after the show to deliver the money, it'll be past 6 p.m.
Okay, first thing, what kind of contract has a deadline of midnight?
I don't know, because there's no
world.
banks.
Yeah.
I thought of that
They
later
close at
when
like
there's a
4
scene later.
p.m. We're going to stay up to midnight to receive your money.
Yeah. There's a scene later where I was like, what?
All right. And 2, she owns apparently a very large bank. So if they pay her, she can use that money to buy another piece of real estate and still have her club.
Yeah, she's obsessed, and there's like never any real good like background on why she hates the Muppets as much as she does.
Or why she needs this particular theater as opposed to literally any other property in New York where there are, I'm sure, dozens of places she could buy.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so Pepe
hears all this.
Yeah, Pepe hears all this. Pepe realizes what he's done and he decides he has to warn Kermit. But the assistant was like spinning in the chair while he was talking and he gets really dizzy and he ends up knocking himself unconscious as he's trying to leave the office after they go.
Yay, Pepe. He is the hero we need.
That night, the show is on, and it looks like they've made enough money with ticket sales to pay back the debt. Yay!
So they have the money, so they can just give it to her now. It's not even 6 p.m. They're fine.
Well, yeah, but the show's literally about to start.
Some things are more important.
They don't have, like, a single person that can go pay
They don't have, like, a PA
money.
or, a grip or something they can send to the bank on just a 5-minute errand, a stagehand.
I think they're just thinking, like, oh, we'll have enough time after the show. We'll just walk it over after the show. Which I
Kermit is irresponsible.
No, as soon as I had the money, it would be, like, at the door.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be like, we gotta pay this off. It's done. Kermit is irresponsible. Like, what if you get lost? Well, the bank is closed because banks close at 4 p.m. and midnight's a stupid time to deliver money.
All right. Anyway, Pepe
Kermit
arrives.
deserves this.
Pepe arrives right at the start of the show and is like, I have to tell you something. But of course, before he can get through with his story, he's accidentally carried off by some of the crew.
Oh, the Muppets are so wacky.
I know. And then everybody's like, Kermit, you're on. And so he like runs off the stage to do his, announcement like he always does at the beginning of shows. And in the least child-friendly choice, the opening is a play on Moulin Rouge called the Moulin Scrooge.
Oh no.
It's a masterpiece. It's so good. I would highly recommend 10 minutes of your life watching the opening of that show.
Is it Miss Piggy as the sexy prostitute / dancer?
Yes, and then the chickens seem to play the backup sex workers.
Well, they are Gonzo's little harem, so sure, why not?
It's so funny. They're like dancing on the stage, singing inappropriate songs in French. And Pepe keeps repeatedly trying to interrupt the number, but can't quite seem to make it, across the stage.
Is Kermit in this number? He can just talk to Kermit.
Yeah, he's in the number.
Oh.
Kermit opens it, and then he, joins the number, and he plays the, lovelorn guy who shows up on the Moulin Rouge, and then Piggy comes down and is like, oh, drink this beverage, the whole thing.
Okay.
They do the
why
whole
doesn't Pepe
thing.
just wait for the number to end and he can catch Kermit backstage?
I think he's worried because it's 6 o'clock is very quickly approaching, minutes away.
All right.
Kermit finally gets off the stage and Pepe is able to get to him and tell him about the payment. So Kermit plans to go to Bitterman's office and instead they're interrupted by Fozzie, who offers to go do it instead because it's kind of chaos behind the scenes and they're in the middle of the show and Kermit should stay behind because he's the only, calm
but
presence.
Fozzie's at least responds, oh, shenanigans are coming.
And he's like, I promise, I'll get it there, I promise.
Also, when did Pepe get elevated to a main character status in the Muppets?
I don't know, but he is in this story. And it's weird because Rizzo the Rat's kind of like this weird background character, which is unusual.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, again, if this is your first time hearing about the Muppets, I'm sorry.
There was a really funny joke earlier with Rizzo, though. I didn't say it, but where is it?
You don't need to tell me every joke in the movie, Danielle.
No, but it was funny because he's got this red nose for some reason, and Gonzo's like, oh, we could, have Rizzo play something completely unrelated. And Kermit's like, oh, I thought you were going to go with Rizzo the red-nosed rat deer. I don't know why that tickled me.
Okay. I guess you had to be there.
All right. So Fozzie leaves with the money, and he is stopped for reasons by a reality TV show Australian animal person that's kind of like Steve Irwin, but I don't think it's Steve Irwin, who tries to trank him since he's a bear in the city, and he runs for it.
If Muppet or puppet people are common in this universe, why is this guy
no sense.
That's assault. That is you are assaulting a citizen of this country, this city, this world. That's and that brings up a lot of questions to me about animals in this. Are they vegetarian? Because if animals can talk.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that at all. And there are even multiple bears because there's at least one other bear that looks more like an actual
Bearish.
bear. Yeah, and he's in his hat and clothes and obviously not a wild bear in the city. I don't know.
All right. Okay, sure. Steve Irwin wannabe tranks Fozzie.
So he runs for it, Fozzie runs for it, and ends up running into a Santa, and their bags get crossed. Of course, he drops his and picks up Santa's little green bag.
Oh.
Now you know, and shenanigans ensue. I'm not going to go through the entire scene. It's like a 10-minute scene.
I don't need the entire Muppet shenanigans. I get it.
Yeah.
I've seen Muppet movies.
So he finally makes it to Bitterman's, and though she tries to stop him with a laser system that's installed in the hallway for fun. And it burns him when he walks through it. It's like an actual laser, like burning laser system.
Wait. Is this Christmas Eve?
Yeah, it's Christmas Eve.
None of this makes sense because the bank is closed. Nothing's going to happen until after the holidays, right? This is what they call them, bank holidays to begin with.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. She's in her office on Christmas Eve.
all they got to do is postmark the check or whatever, the wire transfer, as long as it's been dated properly. When it clears on the next business day, they're kosher.
Yeah, well, okay, that's logical thinking, Sam, but we're in Muppet world thinking. So he's got to get the literal bag of money to Bitterman's office
They
by
have a bag of cash.
midnight.
Everyone paid for this show with cash, not credit cards.
Yeah, as far as I can tell.
Wild.
It's a literal bag of cash that had money signs on it.
I guess everyone just has to throw cash in a Muppet. I don't understand this universe, Danielle.
All right, so he finally runs through the laser system getting all burnt up, but it doesn't matter because the money is not in the bag.
It's presents or whatever.
Poor Fozzie. It's actually just some oranges and some not trash, but stuffing, kind of
Okay, so it's just to bulk the bag out, yeah.
Poor Fozzie. He tried
Poor
so
Fozzie.
hard.
He was
went
the
through a
wrong
lot.
person.
He was.
Kermit makes the wrong choice every time.
They should have just hired a company to deliver it.
What about that lame stage manager guy that everyone hates?
Scooter?
Yeah.
Oh, poor Scooter.
He could have been the one
Scooter
to do
probably
it.
would have made it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, he was there. He was stage managing Sam.
Yeah, but what's more important? Can Kermit call the cues for a few minutes on the cue sheet, or are they going to lose the theater?
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
All right, it's now 8 p.m. back at the theater, and they're having their holiday post-show party when Kermit realizes the time and heads out to go look for Fozzie, because he's like, that's weird, he's not back.
And Fozzie is dead.
No, but they do have a very sad scene outside where Kermit realizes Fozzie wasn't able to make it, but Kermit decides to go in search of the money to see if they can find it. Maybe there's still a way to pull it off.
So Kermit, the businessman that he is, instead of writing a check to the bank, put literal cash in a sack to deliver to the bank.
Yes.
And that cash gets lost, as cashes want to do, and he has no way of legally recovering it.
100% happened.
Kermit is a terrible business owner. He's the
Nobody
worst.
said he was good at business owning, Sam. I just thought he was a nice person, supposedly.
Nice doesn't pay the bills.
Except when he takes away everybody's pay.
Look, being nice is great, but you also gotta be responsible. You have people who depend on you for their livelihood, and you're being this reckless?
Well, that's what
He's
he gets
not
in.
a good person.
That's why he gets into his funk, Sam. You haven't even let him get into his funk yet. He's just about to.
Yeah, but they're gonna redeem him afterwards and say, it's okay, Kermit, you're still the best. No, he deserves everything.
All right, anyway, they're looking for the money.
I'm anti-Kermit in this movie.
I know, it's rough. You guys, I hope we don't get hate mail. We're sorry. I love Kermit.
Look, I think Kermit is a perfectly nice person, but clearly he's a terrible business owner, and if he had any actual care for his employees, he would step down and put someone competent in charge of the finances.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but...
So therefore he's being selfish because he just wants power.
Oh my gosh. Poor Kermit. Harsh claims. Okay, so Kermit goes to visit Bitterman, trying to talk her into giving them more time, and she tells him that absolutely not, because you are Miss Bitterman. She's like, dreams ruin lives. You can't pay the bills with dreams, Kermit.
I'm not Miss Bitterman. I think dreams are great. I'm just saying, if you want to have employees and be responsible for the livelihood of your staff, that people you care about or who are your friends, you're going to either put some effort into learning how to run a business or hire someone to do it right.
Well, I don't it. Again, you never get any background on Miss Bitterman, but it seems like she has a real problem with people
Kermit?
going after. Well, yeah, and also maybe Muppets, and also just people going after things that they want.
Which is ironic because she's going after what she wants, which is a dance club.
Yeah. She tells Kermit not to let the whole event ruin the holidays because, geez, Kermit, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh. I love her as an evil person. Joan Cusack, she's great.
I think Miss Bitterman is probably the character I understand the most because she has no backstory, and therefore I can just assume she makes sense in some way.
I mean, technically, she's not wrong.
Yeah, right? I guess. Here's the thing that's wild to me. She's not the one who wrote the onerous contract, right? It was the previous guy who seemed to be presumably on good terms with Kermit.
Uh-huh.
Because they had a handshake agreement to like do this whole thing. So why did this presumably nicer person write such a terrible, evil, possibly illegal contract?
I don't know, Sam. I didn't really think of the contract that hard.
I'm all about the contract. The contract to me is the crux of this whole movie.
I mean, technically it is.
I want the lawyer to get involved and explain this contract to me because I am desperate to know what's in it. Because what did Kermit sign? What did he just like... I feel like he's like, if there's like a terms of service for like a software program, he like just clicked the box. Like he just signed this thing, didn't even look at it.
It's possible.
There could be anything in there, and I want to know.
All right. So he leaves Miss Bitterman's office and cue the opening scene where Kermit's telling everyone they're doomed and that he's ruined everybody's life with his ridiculous dreams.
Not his dreams. His dreams didn't ruin anyone's life. His irresponsibility and refusal to accept his shortcomings did.
I think it's his, I think what he's implying is that the not being able to realize his dreams, like not, it's the same thing you're saying. It's not like putting in the effort to actually make his dream a reality.
No, his problem was his ability to write a check. That's his biggest problem.
Right. But that's part of making your dream a reality is like putting the money in or putting the effort in or putting the whatever in.
Okay, sure. I mean, we're splitting hairs here or frog legs or whatever.
Always. Cut back to Whoopie and Daniel. Whoopie agrees.
Oh, I forgot they existed.
I know. Whoopie agrees to send an agent down to help, but decides, of course, because she feels bad for Kermit. You're supposed to be empathetic, Sam. You're the only one who's not.
I don't know, Danielle. I mean, I feel bad for Kermit, but I also feel like it wasn't like he was taken advantage of. I mean, yes, Bitterman did change the contract in a completely unfair way. But even if it had gotten to midnight, he still lost the sack of money. Like, he wasn't going to be able to pay her.
Well, maybe Whoopi wants to, like, help out the rest of the Muppets from Kermit's terrible mistake.
That I'll believe.
So she agrees to send an agent down, but she decides, of course, that Daniel has to do it.
Of course.
And he's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a numbers guy. Like, don't send me down there. Not my jam.
Yeah.
But Whoopi has faith in him. And poof, he catapults onto Earth and finds Kermit and defrosts him with a portable hairdryer for reasons. Don't know, he's frozen on the snow bench, you might remember.
Oh, so he's dead.
Yeah.
Or he's one of those frogs that like hibernate when they freeze.
Yeah, I think he was hibernating.
Okay, sure.
So Daniel's like, I'm here to help you get the theater back. And Kermit is neither enthusiastic nor believing of him.
Reasonable.
So Kermit has clearly hit rock bottom, and he yells at Daniel that he wishes he'd never been born. And Daniel is like, I know. Daniel's like, oh man, why did you say that? And apparently, according to his guide that he was supplied with, which is like a dummy's guide to...
It's now mandatory to show him It's a Wonderful Life type scenario.
Absolutely. If a person requests that, they have to make it happen.
You know, Danielle, I've said that 1,000,000 times, and so far, it has never happened to me.
Yeah, but you don't have like a guardian Daniel, David Arquette.
Why not? Am I not worthy?
Maybe you need to invest in a New York theater and then not pay the bills.
Okay, I'll get right on that. Nothing bad can come of that.
Poof. Now Kermit is sitting in a mall instead of in a park. Surrounding him is the Bitterman Plaza and Mall. The park is completely gone.
That's not how parks work.
Okay, well, it's magic, Sam.
I'm assuming it's a public park.
Well, yeah, I guess. Maybe not. Well, apparently it's turned into a plaza.
Okay.
It's all cement, and there's like a mall surrounding it. The park's completely gone, and Kermit's really freaked out. And he, almost immediately, he overhears Gonzo talking, so he heads in that direction.
And Gonzo's going to exposit exactly how this game all came to pass.
No. Gonzo is a street performer. Okay. And, no, like, Daniel kind of goes like, well, you know, she owns a lot of banks and things, and Daniel just explains that she has a lot of money and she bought a lot of property.
It's not like we have people who own a lot of banks in this universe, and I guess we have no parks left. It's true, they bought all the parks. Parks are gone.
She's evil though, Sam. You know this.
You don't think the CEOs of our current banks are evil, Danielle?
Okay, they're evil in a different way though. They're not like, I'm going to take away all the parks way. Things can't be pretty.
If there was money, you know they would.
Yeah, they'd take away a park if they could make more money.
Yeah, they try, but they can't.
The laws are different around the parks. You're overthinking this.
Oh, you think?
So Gonzo's a street performer in this reality. So as with all of these stories, we have to remember that this is a real reality, right? This is like what would have happened if Kermit had not been born. So this is like a bubble reality. I think it's important to remember that for the rest of the story, okay? Like, this is real. This isn't just like some imaginary thing.
Why is it? How do we know it's not imaginary?
I mean, it's imaginary in that, he was never born, and now he's living in a world where he was never born. But it's like, technically, this is what all these characters would have done had Kermit not been around, right?
Sure. Okay.
So you'll find out.
I am on tenterhooks.
So Gonzo is a street performer and is upset that Kermit chases away his only customer that day that would look like they might put some money in his hat. And Gonzo, of course, doesn't recognize him.
Because he's never been born.
Right. And as they're standing there chatting, on TV, there's TVs in one of the mall windows. Rizzo is on Fear Factor, but he's not the contestant on Fear Factor. He's the rat someone has to eat on Fear Factor.
So, I'm sorry, I don't know if I blacked out for a second or what, but Gonzo's a street performer, and he's performing in front of a wall of TVs or something, and they see Rizzo about to be eaten on Fear Factor.
Absolutely. You got
it. Again, this universe, they're sentient beings, right? The Muppets.
Yeah.
And they're not weird anomalies in this universe. I mean, Gonzo is an alien or something, but that's a whole other thing. But you can't eat people on TV.
Well, that's what's happening. It's what happens when Kermit's not around, Sam.
The laws of the universe. All right, whatever. Let's go. Sure.
So he hears music and heads off, thinking it's the band, the classic Muppets band.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem?
Exactly. Instead, they're all river dancers now.
How is that worse? That sounds amazing.
And also, apparently, frogs are the new fried chicken because there's just frog restaurants abounding.
This is insane. How does one person, frogs aren't sentient in this universe, and there's still not frog restaurants everywhere.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if somehow Kermit was in charge of Muppets' rights that we didn't realize, and now they're not considered fully sentient in the...
Yeah, but even if that's true, why would there suddenly be frog restaurants? It's not we don't have anyone advocating for Muppet rights or frog rights in this universe, and
I don't know. Maybe people are less likely to eat frogs because there's a talking frog on their TV set.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean as soon as there's not, they're going to be 10 million. Everyone's gotta eat frogs. All I want to eat are frogs now.
I don't know, Sam. It's just funny, haha, when he looks at
this universe
menus.
Is insane and horrifying.
And remember, it's supposed to be real, so it gets worse.
Okay.
In the place of the theater is Club Dot, of course. She's taking it over. So they enter the club, and the bouncer is a leather-strapped Professor Honeydew.
So we got Leather Daddy Honeydew.
And
where's Beaker?
We'll get there. So he walks in, and there's everybody's dancing and drinking and everything, and they do a camera pan up to the cage that's behind Kermit.
Is Beaker go dancing?
No, Scooter is in the cage dancing, but he's dressed in a crop top and booty shorts with glow-in-the-dark necklaces and bracelets on, and he's gyrating.
I'm not okay with this. The sexualization of the Muppets is not a good look.
It's so weird. It's a kid's movie. I know it's an adult movie because Muppets are very adult-y, but it's an adult kid's movie.
I got it. No.
It's the best scene in the entire movie, besides the opening of Moulin Rouge. And then Kermit sees Miss Betterman at the bar getting a drink and berating, some of the Muppets that work there. And he runs up and he starts to tell her off. And she ends up, of course, calling security.
Yeah, who is this random frog? Let's eat him.
Yeah. And she calls security, who is Beaker. And as Kermit puts it, you're all swollen. He's super pumped.
You got a jacked Beaker and a Leather Daddy Honeydew.
And a gyrating, booty short, crop top Scooter.
No, Scooter's living his best life. That's fine. I just want to know the power couple that is Leather Daddy Honeydew and Buff Beaker. That sounds like the couple that would absolutely rule the scene in any club.
Oh God, it's so good. That scene is wild. It is the wildest 4 minutes of television ever.
Sounds amazing.
So Beaker throws him out into the back alley, and they're approached by Fozzie, who sees him get thrown out, and he comes over and he helps them up and is Merry Christmas, it's Christmas Eve, always help a stranger, etc. And then he kind of laughs weirdly and runs away, and Kermit's well, that was kind of weird, but he's basically the same. And Danielle points out that Fozzie pickpocketed them.
Yeah, I got it.
Which is impressive because, as Danielle says, Kermit doesn't even have pockets.
Also, and because Fozzie's incompetent at everything.
That's great. And Daniel tells him that there's another person that he has to see, which of course is Ms. Piggy. Yeah.
Is she about to be eaten out of luau?
No, she's lives in a rundown apartment. He goes and knocks on her door, and she opens her door and falls, of course, in insta-love with him through the door.
That's not cool.
And she invites him in when he's like, oh, we knew each other before. And she's like, oh, sure. Yeah. As soon as she has insta-love with him, she's like, yeah, of course. I kind of remember that. Come on in. And so she kind of just goes with it. And he comes into the house, and our house is filled with cats. There's just like a dozen cats in there.
That's mean. Cats are great.
And they are great. And it seems a pretty cozy house other than the like millions of cats. So she tells him that she's still doing a lot of acting, and the phone rings as she's talking, and she picks it up, and she's pretending to be a phone psychic. She's like this Jamaican accent that she's using.
Oh, that's not a good look.
It's not, but he's like, that's not acting.
I mean, it is, absolutely. And also pretty lucrative until the class action lawsuits start.
So he invites her to dinner. He's like, let me take you out to eat. And she's like, no, I can't do that because it's Christmas Eve and I have to wrap Mr. Meow Meow's present and I'm not pretty enough to go out and I really should just stay home. And he's like, no, that's nonsense. You've got more talent and beauty than anyone I know.
Aw.
I know. Miss Piggy's touched, but in her usual fashion. She gets kind of worked up and ends up throwing him out.
She doesn't know how to love herself.
No, she doesn't. Poor Miss Piggy.
Poor Miss Piggy. The real villain, as always, is Kermit.
Yeah, so Kermit leaves the apartment and goes in search of Daniel, but can't find him anywhere. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So Kermit starts to panic, and he's like yelling through the town as he walks, and he's like, I want my life back. Please, Daniel, come back. Where are you? This is terrible. But he quiets down as he overhears Gonzo playing guitar and singing on the mall plaza bench.
The great Gonzo, always there with a happy, jaunty tune.
Yeah, it's not that happy because the song is about how he doesn't belong and how lonely he is. And I'm pretty sure it's called The Most Miserable Christmas of My Life because that's one of the lyrics over and over again.
Amazing. A little on the nose, but I love it.
And Kermit walks up and he's like, oh, don't give up. You just haven't found the right audience. And Kermit joins in and on the song, clearly making it a much happier version. And it's a song about how he wishes he could go back and take a second chance. If he had his friends and family, he'd have the most wonderful Christmas of his life because everyone matters. Because,
okay. Yeah. Sure, fine.
The heavy-handed message. So good news. Looks like Kermit found his Christmas spirit.
Yay, I guess. Can he go back to his own timeline and somehow unscrew the contract he messed up?
We'll find out. So, Daniel shows up after Gonzo leaves for the night, and he tells Kermit that he's sorry he couldn't help him save the theater. And Kermit's like, that's fine, friends are more important, and I've learned a valuable lesson, etc. He's like, I want to go back. Can I go back? Like, I want to restart my life. I've learned what I need to learn here. And Daniel admits that he has absolutely no idea how to get him back to his timeline.
Wow, this universe is run about as badly as Kermit's theater business.
Yeah. And Kermit starts yelling. He's like, I wish that I never wished that I'd never been born.
That's a good strategy. It's a great strategy.
So as he's like yelling and doing his like wavy hand thing that he does, like freaking out,
yeah.
A toy phone rings that's under the Christmas tree nearby, and Daniel answers it. And I'm assuming it's Whoopie. You don't really hear the conversation. Well, it's like the other end of the conversation.
It's gotta be Whoopie.
And Daniel hangs up and tells him that he can send him back. It's a little weird, but he can do it. And Kermit's like, whatever. And then I don't know what the thought process was behind this, but Daniel spits on him and it sends him back.
This movie is weirdly sexual.
Isn't it weird?
I do not like this.
It's funny.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Kermit is very excited that he's back in his own timeline, and he asks if there's anything he can do for Daniel, and Daniel's like, well, just, if you could fill out the customer satisfaction survey, I'd really appreciate it. Get back to my boss.
This universe is terrible. Even when you die, there's no escape from that stuff.
I know. So Kermit runs off, ecstatic to see the theater again, and runs inside yelling that he's back. And they're like, okay, you've been gone like 5 minutes, but sure. One of the Muppets mutters that it seems like he's been drinking a little too much of the eggnog. I like this scene, made me laugh. Kermit runs back into the shot. He's yelling, and he yells, all I've drank is a shot of reality and a big glass of appreciation.
Kermit is kind of the worst.
Love it. I laughed so hard.
Oh, I can tell.
That's a really good line. And they're like, okay. So he goes around hugging all of his friends, and he asks Miss Piggy if she still has her mistletoe. And then she's like, what? No, I don't. What are you talking about? And then he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm green anyway, and I don't need the mistletoe. And then he like jumps on her and starts making out with her.
Ew, in front of your employees?
It's pretty funny though, because he like, makes out with her. He runs off, and she's like, did anybody else see that? Oh my God. That's really pretty funny. So he finds Fozzie, who's kind of curled up in the corner, feeling pretty bad about everything. And he and Kermit hug it out. And he's giving this speech to the crew about how the theater isn't important their friendship is when
but
Bitterman...
we need to eat.
Yeah, when Bitterman walks in and tells them to get out. Get out of here. And so Miss Piggy, of course, doesn't put up with that nonsense, and she walks straight up to her and starts getting into a martial arts fight.
Sure, yeah, because Miss Piggy's a karate master, if I remember correctly.
Yes, of course. And apparently Joan Cusack is too.
Well, I knew that.
And they do this scene where you see them, like, their mouths moving, and then it's obviously dubbed over with a line. So it's like classic old
Kung Fu movies,
yeah. And they get into this big martial arts fight. And then Kermit, of course, like runs into the middle of them, breaking it up. And Kermit says, Miss Bitterman may take their theater, but she can't take the theater in their hearts.
And she's like, I can try.
No, she goes, that's good, because I'm glad about that, because I don't want the theater in your hearts.
That's also true. Like, it's not worth anything.
I want this theater, so I don't care. And as they're like having this big discussion, and Pepe ends up walking in, and he's humming to himself, interrupting their argument. Pepe tells them that he took the money he got from working for her, and he applied for a permit to make the theater a historical landmark, and it finally went through.
That was fast.
I know. And so, yay, he saved the theater, I guess. And
why? I mean, she still owns it. She just can't turn into a nightclub.
Sam, I don't know. What my notes say, I don't know. So Miss Bitterman storms off, and it seems to imply that they get to keep their theater.
Even though he still lost all the money made from the show, which is now with some random Santa Claus who's probably very happy.
Yeah, they show a clip of him going, this is our best year yet.
Great.
And then like this bear thing comes in. It's like the one that looks like a real bear. And it comes in and tells them that they're singing Christmas carols out front if everybody wants to join in. And they all go out and sing Christmas carols. And I don't see how that solves any of their problems. It
does not. They're still losing the theater. It's still owned by Bitterman, even if she can't turn into a nightclub.
Well, they do say at one point, like, you can make us, more money if you just let us sell our, do our shows here. You could invest in us instead, which is true. Probably would make more money.
Maybe. They could put a competent theater company in the theater.
That's true. But they do bring in the crowds, apparently.
Honestly, I would see them. That's true.
The end.
Wow. That's a movie that exists. That sounds like a wild 90 minutes or whatever.
It's fabulous.
Amazing, Danielle. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm not sure I learned anything, like any moral lesson from that movie, as it was implied, but it sounds like it had a lot of strong sexual undertones that are very uncomfortable, which will make the whole family uncomfortable during Christmas.
Yeah, you can't unsee the club scene, and I would highly recommend watching it, because you do want it to live rent-free in your head. I
kind of want to watch this movie now, Danielle. You've convinced me.
Moulin Rouge and that club scene are just worth the 90 minutes of your life.
You know what? I am utterly convinced now. Well done, Danielle.
It is not available on Disney Plus. I guess they didn't think it was family friendly enough, but
they have all kinds of weird stuff on there. It's definitely not that reason.
But it is available on Internet Archive, so
perfect. I'm sure we can find copies of it somewhere. Well, thank you, Danielle, for our first Book Retort Twitter Bazaar episode of the year. You definitely fulfilled the brief of Bazaar.
Yes, I did. I was so proud of myself. Such a good movie.
It sounds amazing. And the more you think about it, the crazier it gets.
It's so good.
I really still want to spin off with Leather Daddy Bunsen and Buff Beaker to have like a Queer Eye spin-off kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
I wish they had spent more time together in the club.
Yeah, I want them doing like makeovers or whatever. I want to see them having or a home decor show or something. I don't know. I just want to see them on TV doing their thing.
Yeah, I feel like their life could have been like different than the club scene.
Yeah. I think like they work with the club, but that's not their life, They have a whole thing going on. Like, they clearly have something going on.
Maybe they just met in this universe.
Ooh, we can it's like a dating show then.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't see Leather Daddy Bunsen and Buff Beaker going on their first awkward dates?
Anyway, worth a watch, everybody. It's a very merry Muppet Christmas movie.
Maybe screen it before showing it to your kids, apparently.
I don't. I think it's that kind of humor, as with most Muppet movies, or all Muppet movies, where like kids don't really get why a lot of that's inappropriate.
Okay. That makes it okay.
I mean, think of the things you watched as a kid, Sam. You're fine.
Am I, Danielle? I mean, look how I turned out. I'm not sure it's an endorsement.
We're fine, everybody. We're fine.
Well, if you want to invest in Danielle and my struggling theater business in New York, that I definitely won't embezzle all the money or lose it, you can do so at bookretorts.com.
We would love to have the Muppets available to be in our theater production. So feel free to donate.
Oh, please.
See if we can call them up and get them on the show.
Also, you can send us just more money, even at our Patreon at bookretorts.com/Patreon.
And you can message us at at Book Retorts on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
And until next time, just write a check. Just write a freaking check to the bank. Save yourself some trouble.
Yeah, geez, Kermit, geez.
Well, until then, bye.
Take care, everybody.
Danielle, if you were a Muppet, what Muppet would you be?
Great question, Sam.
Is it? It feels like a question in a dorm room at like 2 a.m.
Is it the one that I feel like I'm like most like, or which one I would want to be?
I mean, who are you? Who is Danielle the Muppet?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Danielle the Muppet exists, but...
All right. Well, thank you for winning the game. Moving on.